Listen closely. That is the sound of a small country's budget disappearing. While you are figuring out how to stretch your paycheck, somewhere in the basements of Colombia, rats are currently feasting on someone's fortune. Pablo Escobar had a problem you won't find in business textbooks. He had too much money. So much that it stopped being a reward and became a curse. Every year, he wrote off 10% of his capital. That's $2 billion. Simply because it was eaten by rodents, mold, and water. But the rats were the least of his worries. Today, I'm going to tell you a story not about a drug lord, but about a man held hostage by his own cash. A story about how the most expensive logistics operation in the world ended with a bonfire worth $2 million. It all started with physics. We're used to seeing millions of dollars in movies. A compact briefcase handcuffed to a wrist. In reality, it's much more mundane and much heavier. Escobar was making $60 million a day. If you take that in $20 bills, which is exactly what junkies on the streets of Miami were paying with, that's 3 tons of paper every single morning. Imagine the absurdity. Planes packed with product flew to the US overloaded, but they came back. Even heavier. The money took up more space than the cocaine. It got to the point where pilots started ripping out seats and paneling from business jets just to stuff in a few more bags of cash. Sometimes the planes were disposable. Land, unload, abandon in the jungle. Buying a new one was easier than cleaning the cocaine dust and money off the old one. But once the money hit the ground, the real hell began. It had to be counted and bundled. Do you know what the strangest line item was in the accounting books of history's most violent cartel? Not bullets, not bribes for judges. Rubber bands.
What?
The cartel spent $2,500 a month just to wrap stacks of bills. Think about that scale. You have billions, but your operation depends on an office supply vendor. So, the money is counted, bundled. Warehouses are full. Garages are full. Mistresses' houses are full. Banks refuse to take that much cash. It's too suspicious, even for 80s Colombia. The question arises, where do you put 3 tons of paper tomorrow? And the day after, Escobar found a solution. He decided to return the money to where he thought it came from. The ground. Colombia turned into giant Swiss cheese. They started packing money into plastic barrels and burying them everywhere. On farms, in riverbeds, under the floorboards of random peasants' huts. It was the most decentralized banking system in the world. No passwords, just a map in Pablo's head and a few marks on a tree. But nature doesn't have a concept of inflation. It has a concept of decomposition. The seals on the barrels failed. Water seeped in. Millions of dollars turned into a green, reeking sludge. And of course, they came. Sound. That same scratching and squeaking sound again. The rats. To them, a stack of $100 bills isn't wealth. It's an excellent, warm nest. The most amazing part was Pablo's reaction. When they reported, "Boss, we lost $500 million, it rotted," he just shrugged. To him, it was just operating costs. Think about that scale. He was losing more money than most corporations earn, and he didn't even flinch, because the flow didn't stop. While 1 barrel rotted, the planes brought in 3 more. It seemed like it would last forever. Money, power, infinite resources. But every pyramid has a peak, and falling from that peak hurts. In 1992, the tables turned. Escobar, king of the world, found himself cornered, where his billions suddenly devalued to zero. He is on the run. Every police force in the world, the CIA, and his rivals are on his trail. He is hiding on a high mountain farm. His children are with him. Here is the irony of fate. He has millions of dollars in cash, in bags, right there in the room. But he can't go out to buy food. He can't buy firewood. He can't buy safety. His daughter Manuela start suffering from hypothermia. Every hour counts. Around them, nothing but cold walls and bags of money. And then, Pablo does something that will go down in the history of madness. He starts throwing money into the fireplace, stack after stack. 10,000, 50,000, 100. To warm the room and cook a meal, $2 million burned that night. It was, perhaps, the most expensive kindling in human history. At that moment, up in the mountains, those papers returned to their true essence. It was just paper. Fuel. No more valuable than an old newspaper. Escobar died shortly after. But his money, it's still out there. Experts estimate that buried in the Colombian soil, there are still caches rotting away worth about $400 million. Farmers call them caletas. Sometimes a tractor plow hits a blue barrel. Sometimes someone finds a bag. But more often than not, when treasure hunters pop the lid, they find nothing but dust and rat nests. This story teaches us a strange lesson. We spend our whole lives chasing money, dreaming of infinite wealth. But Pablo Escobar's economy proved one thing. If you can't spend the money, it turns into trash. And in the end, the rats always win. So, what would you do? If you found one of those barrels in your backyard, would you turn it into the police? Or would you try to launder that dirty money? Be honest in the comments. And subscribe to the channel. In the next video, I'll tell you about a scam where people bought tickets to a country that doesn't exist. Don't miss it.